Hi, I'm Mr. C, the teacher, and the lessons I've created here are the same ones I use in my classroom on a daily basis. So grab your tools for school and join in with our lessons, or just sit back and watch along with us. Let's do some learning together, because you're watching Lessons from the Classroom. In this series, we're going to spend the next 15 lessons learning about guided reading, and we'll do some guided reading together with some leveled books. And that is what we're going to do here in these lessons with guided reading. I'm going to teach you how to picture walk and talk about each picture on each page. Pictures are an important part of reading. That's why when kids learn to read, they start off with picture storybooks. That old expression, a picture says 1,000 words, well, there's some truth to it. And I can't imagine children starting to learn to read using books with no pictures, right? Those pictures are important. A lot can be taken from the meaning in the text by what's shown in the picture. And in fact, when you think about it, as students get to be stronger readers, they graduate from those simple picture storybooks to books where there's a lot more text on the page and a little less of what's happening in the picture for what's written in the text. And then eventually kids move into those beginning chapter books. And later on, when they're older kids, of course, they're reading novels. And there's very few pictures, as we know, in novels. So really, beginner readers, picture storybooks are extremely important. Important to be reading to your child from picture storybooks and showing them the pictures, and important to start your children reading using picture storybooks, of course, as well. I'm going to have mom or dad read the story to you so that you can find out if your picture walk was accurate or where there was change. When it comes to learning to read, well, it's important that moms and dads read stories to you every night, but it's also important that you slowly learn how to read. Mom and dad are going to help you echo read, where they read a sentence first and then you read it back. But you have to be pointing your finger when mom and dad are reading the words and when you read the words. And lastly, you'll get to the stage where you'll try reading independently on your own, but mom and dad are there to help you out and help you correct any mistakes you make or where you get stuck on words. Learning to read often means you have to master that book before you move on to a new book. And that could take 8 times, 9 times, 10 times, who knows, maybe even 12 or 15 times reading through that book over and over and over again until you can read from the very first word on the first page to the very last word on the last page with no mistakes, no needing help, and your reading pace, the speed that you read at, is about the same pace that you talk at. Today, we are going to start learning guided reading, and that is one skill where you can actually pick up a picture storybook and start having your child read. You need to be a part of it, of course. You're right there next to your child, and this is a partnership between you and your child learning how to read these picture storybooks, where I will be doing that guided reading with leveled books that you and your child can follow along with. The book is going to be on your screen instead of in your hand, but you can still follow along and learn to read, and hopefully it'll teach you enough that you'll gain the skills to be able to find your own books from the library or at home and do these same guided reading skills. All right, so let's get started. Let's take a look at our series of books that we're going to read. All right, let's take a look at the next book in this series. This is book 1C.
Read at home, Mom's New Hat, level 1C. A picture walk. What do you see happening in the picture? Look carefully at the picture. Tell me what you see. What's happening? Look at everything in the picture. Explain what you see happening. Take a look at this picture. What's happening now? Take a look. What's happening in the picture now? Remember, pause this if you need to have more time. Uh-oh. Now what's happening? Wait a second. Something more is happening. Now what's happening? What's happening now? Take a careful look at what this guy's doing. And look at this last picture. What's happening here with Mum's new hat? Here's some questions to answer. How did Mum lose her new hat? Why do you think Biff has a camera? What funny things happened to Mum's hat? What things have happened to you on a windy day? All right, now we're going to do a read of the story. I'll use my little yellow marker. Mum's new hat. Mum had a new hat. The wind blew. It blew Mum's hat off. Get my hat, said Mum. Dad ran. The wind blew. Oh no. Get that hat, said Dad. Kipper ran. The wind blew. We call that a repeat sentence when we see that sentence over and over. Here's another repeat sentence. Oh no! Get that hat, said Kipper. Biff ran. The wind blew. Oh no! Look at my new hat, said Mum. All right, it's time to do an echo read. That means Mr. C reads first. I'll point to the words as I read them, and then I'll point to the words again when it's your turn. Mum's new hat. Your turn. Mr. C's turn. The wind blew. Your turn. Mr. C's turn. It blew Mum's hat off. Your turn. Mr. C's turn. Get my hat, said Mum. Your turn. Mr. C's turn. Dad ran. Your turn. Mr. C's turn. The wind blew. Your turn. Mr. C's turn. Oh no. Your turn. Mr. C's turn. Get that hat, said Dad. Your turn. Mr. C's turn. Kipper ran. Your turn. That's the name Kipper. Mr. C's turn. The wind blew. Your turn. Mr. C's turn. Oh no! Look at that exclamation mark. Big voice. Oh no! Your turn. Mr. C's turn. Get that hat, said Kipper. Your turn. Mr. C's turn. Biff ran. Your turn. Mr. C's turn. The wind blew. Your turn. Mr. C's turn. Oh no! Your turn. Big voice on that. Mr. C's turn. Look at my new hat, said Mom. Your turn. Good job. Ready? Start with the title. All right, you ready? Go ahead. All right, now you can go back, rewind the video, pause the video where you need to if I'm going too fast, over and over again until you can read with no mistakes. You don't need any help, and you can read at the same speed that you would talk. Good job with Mom's new hat.
Well, that's all the time we have for today in this episode on guided reading. Thanks for doing some guided reading with me on this storybook, Mom's New Hat. Well, I'm going to take my new hat now and show it off to all my friends in the neighborhood. All right, bye. Well, thanks for joining me today in our lesson. I hope to see you again soon. I hope you had some fun, worked on some new skills, and maybe learned something new as well. Join me next time on another episode of Lessons from the Classroom. Bye for now.
For some more great videos by Mr. C the teacher, go to Google and do a search for Mr. C's full name, Chris Castellarin, under YouTube. So type in Chris Castellarin YouTube, and you'll find plenty more videos.